play for Canberra. Big run by Croker. Mullen, away back to Croker. Croker will make it. Croker's over the line.
Goes away, it's gone on to White and gone on to Croker.
Croker scored. Try time.
Yes, it is amazing to think that since the Canberra Raiders came into the top flight competition that the name Croker has appeared in a team list more than half the games they've played. The current captain, Jared Croker, has reached over 200 games with the Green Machine, and his distant relative, Jason Croker, sits on top of the all-time list and was pivotal to their success in that premiership year of 1994.
Now, there was Croker! Croker hits for the corner! He's in! Croker waves to mind again! And Croker for the line!
Jason Croker, fun-loving, extremely strong. He could have been a champion wrestler, he could have been a champion gymnast.
The world's strongest bloke, a dead set can bench press a small car, incredible strength.
Really likeable guy, Jason Croker, one of the most popular players, not just in Canberra, but in our game.
Real character on and off the field.
He's a bit of a larrikin toots, and the boys all love him, and when he's around the club, he's another guy that's very well respected.
He's just a really natural, just a natural player.
He could play fullback, he could play wing, second row, lock, hooker. You know, he was just one of those guys that you always had him in your 17, no matter what, because he could cover nearly every position.
Over the head for Croker. Steps off the right foot. Got the beat. He'll make it. Jason look at the strength of the man.
Toots was part of that wonderful side in Canberra through the middle 90s, and possibly the strongest person I've ever played with, or if you ever sort of mucked around with Toots, and every now and then he'd actually put you in your place by just flipping you over or doing something quite amazing.
As tough as nails, very, very tough player, great work rate, very strong. That was the thing about Toots, he was a really strong raw-bone farmer, and he brought that same work ethic onto the football field.
He was such a competitor. He played so many games. He was a freak of a player. Obviously well put together, low centre of gravity, and he just was a machine.
He loved the tough stuff. It brought the best out in him. And no wonder all those guys, the Raiders just love to play with him week in, week out, because you just know he's never going to let you down. In fact, he's leading the way.
He was one of those fellas that the minute you looked at him, you thought, well, there's a first-grade body, and he was outstanding bloke to have on your team. He was very, very simple in his approach, but very, very effective and extremely resilient.
I get called Jason a lot, but he's a club great. He's got all the records for the Raiders.
He's a guy you build a team around, and I think that at the back end of his career at Canberra, that's exactly what they were doing. He epitomises the club man. He's a guy you must have in your club, and Canberra were very lucky to have him for as long as that.
Strides into open pasture. Gets a pass away from Croker. He puts it down. The big smile says it all. Canberra are the champions.
He's at the top of the chain there. You've got guys like him and Ricky Stewart, obviously. And there's all the names: Meninga, Daly, Clyde, Mullins, all those sort of guys. But Toots was he's a homegrown Cookle boy, and he played all his footy at the Raiders there, and he put his body on the line. He played some tough positions as well, and put his body on the line for the club for 318 games, I think it was. So, which is a massive achievement. So, when you talk about clubs and loyalty, and he's definitely up the top.
Love the game. I think he's still involved with the game at the moment, and a fantastic fellow for the field. I think that was one of the things about that Canberra side during the 90s, is just quality blokes through their whole lineup. And I think everyone sits back and envied not only what they did on the field, but the team they had. And once you get to know them all, it would have been such a great team to play with.
The country boy that remained that way through the course of his career, very humble, the kind of player that, again, you'd like to play with because there was no airs and graces about him.
One of the funniest things I ever seen him do actually was on a kangaroo tour, was grab big Darren Britt, the Canterbury front rower, and he actually sheared him. So Britty was a bit of a hairy character, the big front rower, and he had a pair of clippers on, turned him over and gave him a quick number one all over. So off went the hairy back on Darren Britt.
Let me tell you, Toots wasn't going to die from stress. He was a pretty casual type of bloke. That's why it's such an enigma. The same bloke would walk across that white line and become a maniac, and just this absolutely great competitor, strong as an ox, and just loved the game of rugby league, who went on to just have this incredible career.